Hi guys, my name is Christine and I'm a dating, relationship and personal development coach. And today I'm talking about 6 harsh truths about women that men learn too late. Okay, so the first thing that I want to get into, which is a harsh truth about women that a man will learn too late, is just because you like her doesn't mean she'll like you. Okay, so this was something that I failed to learn over and over again, especially when I was a teenager, because I'd had like moments where I was really, really attracted to a woman. Perhaps I saw her from across the room and I thought it was mistakenly one of those things you see in the movies of people meeting, and it's like a divine moment and you're so attracted to them. And you think, oh yeah, I really like her. She's really beautiful. She's everything I've ever wanted, right? And then basically you find out that actually she doesn't feel that way about you. But because you feel that way about her, perhaps you cling on for too long, right? Like what I did, right? Because you think that because you like her, that it's divinely orchestrated, and because perhaps maybe you had a few moments with her, right? Like seeing her from across the room, thinking that that was some sort of like the one moment, like she is the one for you. And because you feel so strongly for her, then she has to feel the same way about you because perhaps you've never felt that way about a woman before or whatever, right? So one of the first harsh truths about women is that just because you like her, just because she's perfect for you, doesn't mean that she will feel the same way. Okay? And that's definitely a lesson that I personally learned too late. And I didn't learn that lesson for actually a long time. It took a lot. I guess it was quite egotistical of me to think that, oh yeah, I could change her mind about me because I really like her. And, it was kind of like one of those sorts of things. So it was a very egotistical, even narcissistic thing for me to think about when I was a teenager. But we all tend to be a little bit narcissistic when we're teenagers and a little bit egotistical and probably overestimate our abilities, right? So I know I definitely did, and I definitely overestimated my abilities with women and being able to try and convince them to like me, even though they'd already displayed no interest in me whatsoever. So another harsh truth about women, excuse me, is no matter how nice or friendly you are to a woman, it won't change her level of attraction. So this is where you hear about like nice guys and all that kind of stuff. There's actually quite a few good memes that you can see about nice guys and stuff. That are quite funny and quite relatable, unfortunately for me. And that, again, like this is something that I've personally gone through. And you think, okay, if I'm nice enough to her, if I'm friendly enough, if I'm her friend, then maybe she'll change her mind about me. Maybe that'll make her more attracted to me. Okay. But unfortunately, that isn't true. If she doesn't have any attraction for you, there's not a lot you can do, right? The best thing to do is to walk away and to move on to the next woman. If a woman isn't displaying any kind of attraction for you whatsoever and is basically just not interested, you can't convince her with logic by trying to show her how nice you are, how much of a great guy you are, if she just simply isn't attracted to you. There's not much you can do. If a woman is not attracted to you, you're pretty much out straight away, and you need to focus on women that are attracted to you. Okay, and it doesn't matter how nice you are, it doesn't matter how friendly you are to her, that is not going to change her attraction for you. If anything, it's just going to put you in friend zone. Okay, which goes into my next point, which is another harsh truth about women is that being her friend first is the worst strategy. So there are guys out there that don't even ask a woman out. They're just like, okay, right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to be a friend first, kind of test waters to see how she feels about me. And if I'm her friend, then maybe I can get close to her. And then when we're close, that's when the romance will happen. That is the worst strategy that is ever created by a man. And I don't know who the first one to come up with it was, but it was a bad strategy and not a good way to go, right? Again, this was something that I personally tried to use too. I remember there was a girl that I quite liked when I was doing my A-levels. And I thought, oh yeah, I'm going to be a friend, and then we're going to get closer, and she's going to fall in love with me, and that's what's going to happen, right? That's just how I believed things would go. But that's not how it went at all. She never once displayed any kind of romantic interest in me, and she only ever wanted to be my friend, okay? So the reason why it's the worst strategy is because, first of all, it's not authentic. It's not because it's not how you truly feel. Because if you really like a girl, then obviously your true feeling is that you want to date her, you want to romance her. So the best strategy then to be authentic, right, to be your true self, is to be honest with yourself and be honest with her and tell her that you're interested in her. And the best way to do that is to just simply ask her out. I'm not saying you need to write her a love letter or tell her how much you really, really like her, because you don't need to do that. In fact, that's one of the worst things you can do, right, is confess your love. The best thing to do is just to simply ask her out on a date and ask her when she's available to do so. Just be like, hey, look, you know what? I think you're really cute. I'd really love to get to know you better. When are you free? Because I'd love to hang out with you, right? And then you just wait for her answer. Now, if she likes you, she'll say yes and she'll agree to going out with you. If she doesn't, then she'll just say no, or perhaps she'll say yes for a little while and then she'll cancel last minute, okay? But a woman that likes you will let you know when she's available. And even if she does have to cancel on you, she'll give you an alternative. She'll say something like, oh, I'm sorry, I can't meet you Saturday now, but I can see you Sunday, or I can see you Monday, or sorry, I can't meet you at 5 o'clock, but I can meet you at 8, right? Something like that. A woman who likes you shows up to dates, and if for whatever reason she can't show up to a date, she will let you know when she can show up to a date, okay? Very important to remember that. Okay, so being her friend first is the worst strategy because it's inauthentic, you're being phony, you're being fake. Really, you want to get in her pants, but you're pretending to be her friend, and she might be able to tell something's off, and she may even be able to tell that you're interested in her. And of course she's going to friend zone you because you're not being confident, you're not being straightforward with her. Okay, so even if you could have had a chance with her, right? Maybe if you just asked her out straight away and been direct, maybe that would have changed things. But you didn't. You became a friend first. And that made her probably feel a bit more icky towards you because you weren't being true to yourself, you wasn't being confident, in fact you was being very unconfident and you was flying under the radar, pretending to be her buddy. Okay, so that goes into my next harsh truth about women that men learn too late, is that women prefer authenticity, right? They want you to have your own opinions. They want you to be able to say directly if you're interested in her, okay? So what I mean by this is that sometimes you may have an opinion, or you may have something that you like that she doesn't like. It's okay to say those things. It's okay to disagree with a woman, because there are a lot of guys out there that pretend to like everything that she likes because they're worried basically that they're going to offend her by liking something different. Like it could be like a different political party. It could be a different kind of like football team or something like that, right? Because sometimes I think people can get quite passionate about their teams and their political stance or their religion and things like that. If you've got a different belief, don't be afraid to say that belief, right? Even if it does put her off you, even if it does make her not want to be around you anymore, at least you were being true to yourself and you was being authentic, okay? It's not a good idea to pretend you're something you're not in order to get a woman to like you, okay? Because it's giving her all the power, and that's never a good idea, right? You've got to be yourself. You've got to be authentically you, and it's okay to be polarizing at times. It's okay to say something that's a little bit off the cuff, that isn't agreeable, perhaps sometimes not even politically correct, because it's something that you truly believe, okay? It's sometimes you just have to be yourself, and you just have to be that way, because otherwise if she does fall in love with you, she's falling in love with the wrong guy. She's falling in love with this mask, this pretend person that you're trying to be. Okay, so it's always better to be yourself straight from the get-go, okay, and to be authentic and to not mind saying things that are polarizing. So I highly recommend that you read a book called Models by Mark Manson, and he really goes into that, why it's important to be more like yourself, be more vulnerable, as in like be more of who you are, and don't worry about being polarizing and saying things that perhaps are going to be a little bit offensive, just because, to not worry about those things just because you're worried a woman's not going to like you for it. Okay, sometimes you have to just be who you are, and women prefer that. Women prefer men who are authentic. So even if she doesn't like you and doesn't want to be in a relationship with you after that, she'll at least respect you for being honest and for being yourself. Okay. So another harsh truth about women that men learn too late is it doesn't matter what you do. Some women are just gonna find you creepy. Okay, right? Especially if you're approaching women a lot and you're in the dating world and you go up to them when you meet them out on nights out, or perhaps you try to strike up conversations with women in supermarkets. There are some women that are just going to find you a bit creepy, because that's what happens when you go out there and you're trying to find a woman to date and you start approaching women, start asking for their phone numbers. Some women are just going to look at you and think that you are creepy, right? And there's not really a lot you can do about that. Just some women are just going to feel that way, right? Maybe they'll tell you, maybe they won't. But the point is that whenever you meet a woman, right, who doesn't like you and thinks that you're acting a bit creepy or whatever it may be, the best thing to do is just to say, that's not my intention, but you know what? You have a nice day. I can see this is not going to work out. Okay, so just take it as a compliment. I'm going to leave. Right? That's all you need to. That's all you need to say when a woman is complaining that you're being creepy to her or something like that. Just walk away, right? And just obviously try and apologize, but just be like, look, I'm sorry. Obviously this isn't going to work out, but I'm going to leave. Right, because what will make you look more creepy is if you're trying to hang about her and sort of like hover around her and try to fix the situation. If she's not reciprocating and she thinks that you're creepy, the best thing to do is just to walk away. Right, don't try and fix the situation or try to convince her otherwise, because that's just going to make her more and more uncomfortable. Okay, and you don't want that. Right, and she definitely doesn't want that. Okay, so just walk away if a woman is complaining about you being creepy or whatever it may be, or acting strangely or something, I don't know. But there are just some women that are just going to feel that way about you. There's not really a lot you can do about it, okay? You're not going to be able to, win every single time with a woman. Some of them will just find you creepy. Sometimes you're just not going to be someone's cup of tea, right? And one of the reasons why they might find you creepy is maybe because you just look like their creepy uncle or something like that. Or, perhaps they went to school with someone that reminded them of you, right? And they were creepy for whatever reason. It could be just the look on your face. It could be just the way that you're dressed, right? It doesn't necessarily have to be with you and how you're coming across. It could be just something to do with your appearance that reminds them of someone else who was once creepy to them, right? So don't take it offensively, right? Okay, because most of the time when you approach a woman, things will probably go all right? She may not reciprocate because maybe she's got a boyfriend or maybe she's married or something like that, but most of the time you're just going to meet very polite women who will just politely decline. And then of course you'll get those few rare times when you'll actually meet a woman who does actually show interest in you too. And you'll get obviously as well those rare times when you'll meet a woman who thinks you're being a bit creepy. Okay, but just know that that's just the reality, and it's just one of those things. Okay, so the last harsh truth about women that men learn too late is that dating and romance are not like the movies and TV. Unfortunately, okay, it would be so much more simpler if all you had to do was just do a few grand gestures and a woman would fall in love with you, like how you see in the romantic comedies and even some of the other kind of movies that are out there these days as well. It doesn't have to be just romantic comedies, right? If you're really nice to her and you're really compliant and you're really submissive and friendly, that's how you're going to win a woman's heart. Right? Apparently that's what the movies and TV dictate to us these days, because it's all been very feminized, I guess you could say. But basically what it seems to me is that the movie and TV industry are trying to feminize men, right? And try to make one of the big ones that stick out to me is the TV show Modern Family, and the dad in that. He's such a bad he is such a bad archetype of men. Like really, like it's so bad, because basically he's the compliant one, the one who's always worried about pissing off his wife, essentially, and the wife is like this strong woman who then takes on her dad's business and things like that, and it's like, oh God, there's something very backwards about that. Now, it doesn't mean that women can't take on their dad's businesses and do really well for themselves, but it's the fact that they have both of these, like, she is strong and he is weak. Basically, that's what the essential message is there. And it's really sad. And, usually it's the opposite. Most of the time, usually is that he's really strong and she's a little bit more timid. Not saying like to the weak degree where she's like pathetic and useless. And it seems to me that that's what they're trying to make men as. Like if you think of like Homer Simpson, they're trying to make him look out to be just absolutely useless and hopeless and just absolutely pathetic, right? And I'm not saying that when you see a couple, it should be the opposite, where the woman is pathetic and useless. Of course not, right? There should be two strong people there, people who have their own goals, their own dreams and things like that, right? But it seems like the movie and TV industry are pushing for these stories about very weak and useless men, and it's just really sad to see, and they're not good role models, obviously. Okay, so those are my truths, my 6 harsh truths about women that men learn too late. Thank you so much for watching. If you'd like to get in touch with me personally and you'd like coaching with me, then please go to www.ChristineLoveridge.com, and I shall talk to you again very soon. Goodbye.